Okay guys, till now we are discussing generally the power of the chapter precedent. Okay, uh, chapter precedent. Now I'm going to discuss the ordinance making power of the president. Article 123 of the constitution empowers the president to promulgate ordinance during the recess of parliament. Now there are two options in front of you. Option 1, ordinances have same effect like parliamentary law. Number 2 option, ordinances are temporary law. Temporary law. Which of the following sentence is correct? Generally, what happen if we don't read carefully in exam? What happen? First sentence says that ordinance have the same effect like parliamentary law, and second sentence says that ordinances are temporary. Then in exam hall we do some calculate. I already told you calculation don't work in polity. Okay, you must be 100% sure. First, what we think that if ordinances have the same effect with parliamentary law, we know that, okay. But if ordinances have same effect like parliamentary law, why will ordinance be temporary? That is why we think the second sentence is wrong, at first is right. But the sentence both are wrong, both are right. Okay, ordinance is always a temporary law because it is actually enacted to for any immediate purposes. Okay, for immediate purposes, because there is no parliament is not in session. Okay, that is why both sentences are correct. Ordinance have the same effect like parliamentary law, and ordinance are also temporary. Okay, then another thing is that two options. Okay, ordinance can be issued only when both when both the houses of parliament are not in session. Ordinance can be issued only when both the houses of parliament are not in session. The sentence is right or wrong? अध्यादेश कब जारी किया जाता है? जब पार्लियामेंट का दोनों सेशन पार्लियामेंट का दोनों हाउस का सेशन नहीं होते हैं. ओनली ordinance can be issued only when both the houses of parliament are not in session. Whether sentence is right or wrong? Sentence is wrong. Why the sentence is wrong? Because this ordinance can be issued also when one of the house is not in session. Because we know that for lawmaking purposes, both assent of both the houses are necessary to ordinary law. Okay, that is why what happened? If the sentence had been said that if ordinance can be issued when both the houses of parliament are not in session, that then the sentence is right. But I told you that only the word only in objective questions are generally a ghost. Okay, ये generally भूत है. Okay, ये कैंडिडेट को क्या कर देते हैं, वो कंफ्यूज कर देते हैं ऑनली. ठीक है, यदि ऑनली नहीं होता है वो सेंटेंस राइट हो जाता है. ठीक है, बट ऑनली आ गया क्योंकि अध्यादेश कब जारी किया जाता है? जब ऑनली दोनों हाउस सेशन पे नहीं होता है. ये रॉन्ग है क्योंकि जब एक सेशन भी नहीं होता है ना तो भी अध्यादेश जारी किया जाता है. ठीक है, बिकॉज द लॉ इज टू मेक एनी लॉ द एसेंट ऑफ टू मेक बोथ द हाउसेस आर नेसेसरी to ordinary law. Okay, that is why if one session house is also not in session, then also ordinance can be issued. Okay, don't be confused. Don't be confused. These are actually confusing lines. Okay. Then another thing is that whether the ordinance making power of the president is justifiable or not. It is justifiable. Okay, it can be questioned on the ground of the court, and it is given in the Cooper case 1970. Supreme Court says that the president's satisfaction can be questioned in a court on the ground of malafide. And what is the malafide ground? Yourself would read in Lakshmikant. This is already given. Okay, but the thing is that it can be questioned. And 44th generally there is another important point. 38th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 made the president's satisfaction final and conclusive, but a 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971 deleted this provision, and now president's satisfaction is justifiable on the ground of malafide. Okay, both on the basis of judgment of Supreme Court and both on the from the constitutional viewpoint, the ordinance making power of the president is justifiable. Okay. Now another thing is that uh, uh, ordinance can be issued on all those subjects on all those subjects which comes under the parliamentary law. Means on those subjects on which parliament can make law, an ordinance can be issued on all those subjects. Okay, but the thing is that parliament can amend constitution, but can ordinance be issued for constitutional amendment? No. Mind this thing. Ordinance can be made on all those subjects on which parliament has the power to make law, but an ordinance cannot be issued to amendment constitution. Okay, you will find different options, like ordinance can be retrospective. Can ordinance be retrospective? Yes, an ordinance can be retrospective, and you know what is retrospective law. Okay, I am not going to explain these things, what is retrospective law, but the retrospective law in general terms is the law that actually is enacted to convict a person by making new law. Okay, for example, you have done a murder, okay, you have done a crime, okay, for that crime there is no existing law, okay, but according to constitution generally retrospective law cannot be made. Okay, you after committing the crime you cannot bring any act to convict the person, it is retrospective, but an ordinance can be issued for retrospective law, an ordinance can be issued for amending tax law, an ordinance can be issued for a constitutional amendment law. The third sentence is wrong. You will find different options. An ordinance can be issued for constitutional amendment, an ordinance can be issued for tax amendment, an ordinance can be issued for retrospective amendment. All the for second and third sentence is wrong. Right, the first is wrong, because an ordinance cannot be issued for amending constitution. Okay, mind this thing, these are minor differences. And another thing is that whether ordinance making power of the president is discretionary power? No. The ordinance making power of the president is not a discretionary power. Generally, president announces ordinance on the advice of the council of ministers headed by prime minister. Okay, it is not a discretionary power of the president. Mind this thing. Okay. Then another thing is that an ordinance can take away fundamental rights. An ordinance cannot take away the fundamental rights of the people. Mind that. Ordinance cannot take away, an ordinance issued by the president cannot breach the fundamental right of the people. Okay, fundamental right of the people cannot be breached or cannot be broken by ordinance. Okay, ordinance cannot take away the fundamental right of the citizens. Okay, these are very important points regarding our ordinances. Okay, then again some important thing is that ordinance must have to be passed by parliament within 6 weeks. Okay, and before that also, before 6 weeks also, parliament can pass a resolution for disapproving any ordinances. Okay, mind this thing, the time period is 6 weeks, but before the time period of 6 weeks also, the parliament can pass a resolution for the disapproval of ordinances. Okay, and before 6 weeks, if any before the parliamentary session, okay, before parliament disapproves, the president can also disapprove any ordinance. Okay, but if any ordinance has been disapproved by president, means if any before the reassembly of the parliament within 6 weeks, if a ordinance has been disapproved by the president, then the works done under the ordinance till before 6 weeks will be valid or invalid, will be valid. Okay, mind that I told you that if the election of president is declared invalid, okay, the works done by president till that moment are valid. Okay, it is not invalid. In that way, if the president disapproves, okay, disapprove means first council of minister takes gives ordinances, tell president to sign ordinances, to announce ordinances. President cannot disobey. President must have to approve these ordinances. Okay, president announce ordinance. Okay, then after that again, before the reassembly of the parliament, before parliament has to give assent or disagree, the council of ministers says president that you again tell that you should disannounce it. Okay, then president will disapprove. Okay, president should disapprove the ordinance, but the within this time span under the ordinance, any act which have been already done, it cannot be invalid. Okay, these words will be always valid. Okay, then another important thing is that if whenever a ordinance has to be introduced in parliament for the for its approval, then president has to what happen, also introduce an explanatory note that explaining that why the what is the immediate or necessary immediate condition which necessitated, okay, which compels the government to introduce ordinances. Okay, this thing is important. Okay, mind that then whenever any ordinance is generally introduced in parliament, an explanatory note necessitating why the ordinance has been issued has to be introduced in the parliament. Okay, then there is pardoning power of the president. I have already discussed. Then another thing is that Indian constitution has option 1. Indian constitution has Indian president has constitutional discretion, constitutional discretionary power. Indian president has situational discretionary power. Mind that Indian president has not any constitutional discretionary power, but Indian president has some situational discretionary power. Okay, then what the situational discretionary power means? Appointment of prime minister when no party has a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, or when the prime minister in office dies suddenly, then the president can apply his situational discretionary power. Okay, in case of council of ministers has not been able to prove the confidence in the Lok Sabha, or if Lok Sabha dissolves, okay, because the council of ministers loses its majority, the president generally enjoys this situational discretionary power at such moment in appointing new prime minister or new appointing new council of ministers, or deciding whatever he feels suitable. Okay, mind this thing that president has situational discretionary power. Indian president enjoys situational discretionary power, not constitutional discretionary power. Today I have finished the chapter president. Don't forget to put your comment whether you are helpful or not, and I'll begin next chapter right from governor. Okay, but till then take care, bye bye, and continue your study. Okay.